Have you ever wondered about the dark secrets behind the fairy tales we know and love? Welcome to another exploration of the unknown. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden mysteries behind Disney's classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Get ready to dive into a universe of magic and terror, where innocence meets the sinister. In the next few minutes, we'll explore a disturbing version of the story, revealing a macabre origin that will challenge your ideas about fairy tales. So, if you're ready to face Snow White's darkest secrets, don't go anywhere. The adventure is about to begin. You're on the Horse Animated channel, and I'm thrilled to have you here. In a distant time, when winter painted the world white and the castle stood tall amidst the dancing snowflakes, a queen sewed by an open window. As her skilled fingers wove between threads and needles, an inevitable accident occurred, a prick, 3 drops of blood that broke the monotony of the virgin snow nearby. Observing the scene, a thought enveloped her mind like a veil. She ardently desired a daughter with skin as fair as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as the darkest night. Destiny, the faithful weaver of narratives, promptly answered her call. Thus, a child was born, Snow White, as beautiful and as rare as the most precious of gems. But the joy of birth quickly gave way to the shadow of mourning, for the queen departed from this world shortly after giving birth to the little one. The king, plunged into desolation by the loss of his beloved wife, found in the arms of a new queen a consolation for his torn heart. However, the stunning beauty of the second queen hid a black heart, consumed by vanity and malice. Every day, she stood before a magic mirror, inquiring with a voice laden with poison, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For years, the mirror assured her supremacy in beauty, until time brought forth a new jewel in that realm, Snow White. With the innocence and grace of youth, the young girl blossomed into a beauty that rivaled the sun itself. The mirror, unable to lie in the face of truth, proclaimed that Snow White was now the fairest of them all. Consumed by envy and fury, the queen cast a shadow of death over the innocent child. Conspiring in her thorn-clad castle, she ordered a huntsman to take Snow White's life, bringing back her heart as proof of her demise. But Destiny, the wise weaver of narratives, had other designs. The huntsman, burdened with the weight of a heartbreaking choice, led Snow White into the depths of the forest. There, before the radiant purity of the young girl, his heart grew too heavy for the weight of wickedness. Instead of carrying out the queen's cruel order, he allowed Snow White to flee to freedom, replacing the innocent's heart with that of a wild creature. And so, Snow White's dark tale plunges into a plot of deceit and survival, where beauty is a dangerous weapon and kindness a light that shines even in the darkest of shadows. In a kingdom where danger lurks in the shadows and evil lies in wait, the malevolent queen wove her plans with hands stained by the desire for eternal youth. Her vile intent? To devour Snow White's organs, nourishing herself with the innocent's beauty to fuel her own insatiable vanity. But by a twist of fate or a divine intervention, Destiny chose a different fate, a boar, the involuntary sacrifice that saved the young girl's life. Alone and frightened, Snow White followed the uncertain paths of the forest until her uncertain steps led her to a small house hidden among the trees. Curious and weary, she entered the abode, finding a scene of enchantment and mystery. Every detail revealed the presence of 7 inhabitants, 7 plates, 7 glasses, 7 utensils, as if the house had been awaiting Snow White's arrival since the beginning of time. Without hesitation, she tasted a bit of each delicacy and sipped from each wine, satisfying her hunger and thirst. Fatigue enveloped her like a cloak, guiding her to the refuge of the stairs, where 7 beds, small and cozy, awaited. She tried the comfort of each bed until, finally, she found the deserved rest in the 7th bed, where the welcoming sheets embraced her like a mother embraces her child. And so, enveloped by the calm of sleep, Snow White plunged into deep dreams, perhaps unaware of the shadows still hanging over her uncertain fate. Under the starry mantle of the night, the 7 dwarfs, guardians of the mountain, returned home, the house that sheltered their lives and secrets. As they entered the warmth of home, a sense of strangeness hung in the air like a dark shadow. The signs of the intruder were evident: a shared meal, a sampled wine. They followed the invisible footsteps to the bed, where lay a figure foreign to their world of shadows and light. Snow White, like a pearl amidst the darkness of the night, lay there, her radiant beauty contrasting with the ruggedness of the surroundings. Captivated by her presence, the dwarfs heard her story and, with a gesture of compassion, decided to welcome her under their roof, under one simple condition, that she would care for the home while they surrendered to the labor of the mines. Meanwhile, in the depths of the dark castle, the evil queen, fueled by the overwhelming flame of envy, consulted her magic mirror once again. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Her question echoed in the void, and the answer came like a dagger to her heart. "Snow White, the fairest of them all, lives beyond the mountains, with the dwarfs of the land." Fury burned in her chest, consuming her like an insatiable fire. Determined to eliminate the threat that challenged her sovereignty of beauty, she donned the garments of betrayal, disguising herself as a harmless vendor. With the mask of old age, the queen offered Snow White a poisoned gift, a bodice woven with threads of betrayal and vanity. Innocent and trusting, Snow White allowed the shadow to approach, unaware that it was the very incarnation of danger. The bodice tightened, like the claws of a predator, until the young girl fainted, a victim of the queen's deadly trap. But the dwarfs, guardians of light amidst the darkness, returned home in time to undo the fatal bonds, saving the young girl's life from death's clutches. The queen, consumed by the fury of her failed attempts, plunged again into the shadows of her malice. Her new disguise was that of a comb seller, and under this mask, she devised a new stratagem. She offered Snow White a subtly poisoned comb, whose bristles concealed the lethal poison. Innocent, Snow White accepted the gift and was subdued by the hidden treachery. The poison seeped into her veins, and she collapsed into a deep slumber. But once again, the dwarfs, sentinels of light amidst the darkness, intervened in time, removing the poisoned comb and saving her from certain death. The queen, persistent in her thirst for revenge, did not give up. She transformed herself once again, this time into a simple peasant, and wove her web of deceit around a poisoned apple. Half of the fruit was laden with the lethal poison, while the other half remained unscathed. With cunning, she offered the divided apple to Snow White, sampling the safe side to convince her of the fruit's harmlessness. Deceived by the queen's ruse, Snow White bit into the poisoned half and fell, victim to the venom that corrupted her essence. When the dwarfs returned home, they found Snow White motionless on the floor, her beauty shrouded in a sleep that brought no dreams. All attempts to revive her were in vain, and a profound sadness enveloped their hearts. In a farewell gesture, they placed her in a glass coffin, and under the watchful guard of the forest trees, she rested, her immaculate beauty remaining like a solitary star in the darkness of the night. One day, as the sun's rays timidly penetrated the forest's leaves, a gallant prince crossed paths with Snow White, immersed in her deep slumber inside the glass coffin. His heart was captivated by the sight of the sleeping maiden, whose beauty rivaled the light of the sun itself. Determined to free her from that eternal slumber, the prince begged the dwarfs to give him the coffin, promising to care for her with all the zeal in his castle. Touched by the noble prince's devotion, the dwarfs consented. As the prince's servants carried the coffin through the dark woods, a moment of stumble triggered a miracle. The piece of the poisoned apple, which had imprisoned Snow White in her melancholy for so long, was expelled from her throat, breaking the deadly spell. As if awakening from a deep dream, Snow White opened her eyes, bathing the world around her with the radiant light of her presence. The prince, filled with the joy of liberation, proclaimed his love for the young princess and, in a gesture of nobility, asked for her hand in marriage then and there, amidst the forest, under the attentive gaze of the trees and the stars. Snow White, touched by the prince's courage and devotion, accepted his proposal, sealing a destiny of happiness and eternal love. However, in the darkest corners of the kingdom, the malevolent queen, fueled by the poison of envy, plotted her revenge. Upon consulting her magic mirror once again, she was consumed by rage upon discovering that Snow White, now awakened and resplendent, was recognized as the fairest of them all. With a heart blackened by hatred, the wicked queen attempted to sabotage the wedding, but her villainy was uncovered and punished rigorously. While Snow White celebrated her rebirth and true love, she realized, in a glimpse of clarity, that it was the queen herself who had tried to take her life, but that now her light had triumphed over the shadows of evil. And so, Under the radiant light of love and justice, Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after, while the queen's malignancy faded into the mists of forgetfulness. In the darkest version of this narrative, the evil queen faced her destiny with the harshness of her own deeds. Condemned for her cruelty, she was forced to wear iron shoes heated in fire and dance until her life was snuffed out by the blazing flames, a penance for her heinous crimes. Thus, the cycle of violence and revenge reached its tragic conclusion, and justice was served for those who dared to defy the laws of love and kindness. Meanwhile, Snow White and the prince, united by the sacred bond of true love, walked together towards the eternity of happiness. Their hearts, intertwined by the indomitable force of passion, beat in harmony under the shimmering mantle of destiny. And thus, amidst sighs of enchantment and smiles of tenderness, they lived happily ever after, while the story of their brave journey echoed in the deepest recesses of memory. But this is not just a story of a happy ending. It is a tale that spans centuries, shaping itself in the hands of storytellers who dare to reinvent the paths of destiny. From the Brothers Grimm to the films that defy conventions, the saga of Snow White continues to captivate the hearts and minds of all those who dare to delve into the depths of fairy tales. Thus, in each version, in each interpretation, we discover new nuances of beauty, envy, and magic, a journey that teaches us that true power lies in the ability to dream. So, folks, who would have thought that behind Snow White's tale, there would be so many dark secrets and stunning twists? If you were surprised by this version, don't forget to leave a comment about what you thought. If you enjoyed this dive into the depths of fairy tales, leave a like to support the channel and share it with your friends so everyone can be enchanted by these incredible narratives. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos full of mysteries and emotions. We're just getting started on this journey and we can't wait to share more fascinating stories with you. Until the next video, folks!